Thank you for being here today. We just, your children right now are ablaze with enthusiasm about what awaits them in February. We've really framed our trips this year around service learning and being a contributor. All of our trips have a real core of service learning that they'll be doing, and then obviously a lot of cultural exchange as well. And that's a shift we've worked with our partners with to facilitate. It goes along with our school-wide emphasis on our new student profile and our commitment to developing global citizens. So we're really proud of our program that's evolved, and we hope you get as excited as your children are. A little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to, I'll explain kind of what we as educators hope students gain from Week Without Walls. And then we'll give you a little bit of some of the details and some of the points you might care most about, like safety. And then we'll also let you know about the timeline and the process leading up to the trips and how students are placed in trips, etc. So, a lot of text there, but the purpose of Week Without Walls is to give students an experience they wouldn't have in the classroom, and really to extend the learning in the classroom to an authentic environment. And there's so many benefits, as you probably have yourself experienced, maybe not when you were in middle school. When I was in middle school, we went to a lake and we called it environmental camp, and we stayed in these stinky dorm rooms, and you know, still was the most exciting part of my middle school career, but the fact that our students get on a plane and they go all over the world and they just meet some amazing people and have life-changing experiences is really, again, a part of our program that we're really proud of. 4 things we hope that they get out are an enhanced sense of self-awareness and that personal growth that happens. Also, cultural awareness and learning how to interact with people from different cultures and be polite in different cultures. Personal growth when it comes to dealing with maybe being a little uncomfortable or maybe being rude with someone that isn't your best friend and you're having to make a new friend. And then, of course, the most important one is service learning, and just the ability to take what they've learned and apply it to a situation where they're being asked to contribute and just to feel what it feels like to be engaged in some real sustainable service work. This is a graphic you might be familiar with by now. This is our new student profile. I think as we go through some of the trips today, you'll see the student profile is written on all of them. Another thing we're doing this year is, you know, often students go on these trips and it's a week away and it feels a little bit like an educational vacation maybe. We're going to basically extend what happens before and after the trip. We've isolated 8 days where we can go off schedule in the afternoons to engage students in the inquiry process of investigating an issue related to the UN Global Goals, which we'll touch on in a moment. That's connected to their trip. So when they come back from their trip, we're going to ask them to go a step farther and to do a project of informed action that they're going to showcase at the end of the year. And that will take the place of what students have traditionally done through student-led conferences. So we'll tell you more about that, but I just wanted to give you the kind of big picture, the helicopter view of what we're trying to do with students through Week Without Walls experience and what we're calling the Pathways Project. Just a couple of shots of life skills. One of our trips, they climbed Poon Hill, which is not a hill for anybody but expert climbers in Nepal. And you can see, you know, they just really come together through that experience, learn what it's like to be cold, learn what it's like to, you know, maybe be tired at the end of the day and have to wake up the next day and hike another 10 kilometers. All of our trips have varying degrees of that, so not every trip will involve hiking through the Himalayas, but we have different ranges for a reason because we know students at this age are ready for different levels of challenge. Cultural understanding is a huge aspect of what they do, no matter where they go, whether it's Cambodia or even our local residential trip or Tanzania. They're learning, interacting with the local culture, learning about what issues matter to them, making connections that really change them and give them a more global view. Service, they'll be digging holes, they'll be building latrines, they'll be engaged in a lot of physical work for much of the trip. There, of course, are aspects of the trip where they might go on a safari or they're going to really enjoy some Thai food or the local cuisine, but the real emphasis and part of our trips are service and that personal growth. They'll be different young men and women when they come back, and those of you who are 8th grade parents, and even 7th grade parents where their children went away to Greece can attest to how much students grow through these experiences. Lots of links. We're always looking for ways to tie this in with our curriculum because, again, we don't want it to just be a vacation for school. We want it to be something that has rich connections. The student profile is one way. The Pathways project that I mentioned before, we tie it in through certain advisory sessions as well. And then they actually do a self-assessment which appears on the report card, where they write their own report card comment for that section to demonstrate what they learned when they went away for a week without walls. And then the new addition this year is the Pathways project, which really gives an opportunity for students to go a little deeper and to say, I'm really concerned about sources of renewable energy. What can I do to advocate for that in my own way, connecting my passions with my concerns. We'll tell you more about that as the year goes on. That doesn't really kick off until November. These are the UN Global Goals. Raise your hand if you've seen this diagram or are familiar with the Global Goals. It's okay if you're not. These are a set of 17 goals that the United Nations has identified as objectives to attain by 2030. So it's kind of the second set of goals. There were the Millennium Development Goals. They were meant to be completed by 2015. Some as a world, we were really successful with, like eradicating extreme poverty. We've made a lot of progress there. Other aspects such as climate change, we've gone backwards in some ways. But it's a great framework for kids to latch onto and say, okay, which one of these goals really matters to me? Some of them might really be concerned with preserving marine life, or others might really have concerns surrounding poverty reduction or hunger. And so it gives them a chance to frame their experience around an issue that they care about. A little bit on communication before I turn it over to our providers. Over the last couple of years, we've really tried to streamline communication because what we're finding is that teachers that lead trips almost have like a part-time job. Those of you who feel like, and I know this isn't most of you because you interact with teachers, like the teachers are going on a paid holiday when they go away for a week without walls. They're really working 12, 14-hour days, really 24 hours to be there for kids. And leading up to the trip, there's so much work that goes into it. So when it comes to logistical matters like visas, like flights, like questions about when to be at the bus, those will all be communicated abundantly, but you can always reach out to the middle school office or the trip provider directly. We're asking when those questions arise that trip leaders just forward them on to the person that is meant to answer those questions. Of course, if you have a concern you'd like to raise about or make a teacher aware of a social emotional need that your child has, definitely great to tell the trip leader, the teacher leader, or the counselor as well. And allergies, of course, will all be moved on health concerns to our health office. But other concerns, other logistical matters. Jomana is our Week Without Walls admin assistant this year. So she's in the office. I think she's up in the booth right now. Hi, Jomana. Right there. But she'll be here next to Diala's desk. And she's going to be managing all of those logistics for us. So please reach out to them, not the trip leader, because we want to preserve some work-life balance for our trip leader. How do students select their trips? So there's 8 trips. There's 7 that go abroad, and there's 1 that you'll learn about that is in Ras Al Khaimah. It's the same program, same philosophy, same outcomes, but just set in the UAE. We know the financial strain that Week Without Walls inspires, sports trips, Ami, for some of you, we put on a family, so we've gotten that feedback from families, so we're offering kind of some mid-range options when it comes to how much trips cost, and also that local option as well. Every student in the middle school, by the way, participates in Week Without Walls. If there's a reason why your child can't travel, reach out to an administrator, and we can talk through some of the options. But there are options for every student to participate. They're going to fill out a preference form with their top 4 choices out of 8. They'll get a lottery number. This is just the only way we found that's fair and equitable. And that gives them preference. We still sort them though, because we need to have 30% of males or females. We don't want to have just 2 or 3 girls and the rest boys, or vice versa. And then also, since they're mixed 7th and 8th, we try and make sure that there's balance there. So a lower number, and then they'll find out tomorrow what their number is. Be a very exciting or demoralizing experience. We remind them how lucky they are to go on these trips in the first place. It's a privilege privilege and an honor to be able to go on any of these trips because they're so amazing. But if they do get a number in the high hundreds or 200s, they may not get their first choice. It's just really important that they've gotten to all 4 choices and are comfortable and ready to go on any 4 of those choices. I haven't met one student who didn't get their first choice and maybe they were demoralized about having to go on their 3rd or 4th choice, but then when they come back, they all have amazing and life-changing experience for the better. We sort them based on their preferences and based on some of those other dynamics, and then we will send those groups out on October 3rd. I'll give you a slide with the timeline in a moment. The picture. There it is. The trip selection forms are due on September 29th, and those that's also the day for the 1,500 dirham deposit. So that's secures your place on the trip. If the deposit isn't in, then they lose their place in the lottery. So it's really important that that's paid to the business office so that we can place based on their preference. We're going to announce the students, as I said, on October 3rd, and then the final payment for parents is on January 9th. Okay? If you need some support for that, just reach out to the office and we can have a conversation about it. The website will open today after our meeting. We didn't want to open it early this year because we really wanted to, as we did for you, frame the trips around the service component and we know that students will, and probably adults too, would choose trips based on location and where their friends are going. But we really want to frame it for them around issues that they care about that they can take action on. So if you could help with that at home as well when you talk it through with your children, I know you want to go away with so-and-so, but what issues are really speaking to you, and all the trips, our trip providers have done a great job of identifying which of the global goals are connected to each trip. So just have that conversation. The information is on that website, which is the Go page, and that will be live after this meeting today. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to skip ahead. I want to introduce our trip providers in a moment. I do want to put one plug in. We've asked Dax to be here today. I think I've done a little straw poll of students, and about 70 or 80% of them have their house shirts. This is something new we're introducing this year, and they're really exciting. The students design them. Tomorrow's our first day to wear those at school. So if you know your child doesn't have a shirt, they're 50 dirhams and they're in the foyer. So if they don't have it, if you pick one up today, that would be really great. Because you really want to. It's really something that we're expecting to build a lot of school spirit. Kids are really excited to design them, so they'll be available today. So that's my little plug. I also want to introduce a trip that the trip provider couldn't be here today for. Let me just skip ahead to. Actually, Rajesh, could you skip ahead to Tanzania, please? We've gotten the opportunity to go to Tanzania. We've gone to Tanzania in the past, but the Jane Goodall Institute is an organization that we'll be working with this year through Rustic Pathways, which is one of our providers in the high school. Their representative couldn't be here today. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that trip before turning it over to the trip providers who will explain their options as well. So Tanzania, obviously, it's kind of one of our most exotic locations, I guess you could say. Our other options tend to be scattered around the Middle East and Asia. This is Natalia, who's the representative that we're working with from Rustic Pathways. So I'll let her speak. This is going to be a little awkward because I'm basically going to introduce things and then there's a video with her speaking. So pretend she's on like a conference call.
Hi, my name is Natalia. I'm Rustic Pathways Tanzania Country Director. I've been with Rustic for 6 years and with Team Tanzania for the last 3 years. We've been working with American School Dubai's High School in climbing Kilimanjaro and doing service in Moshi and going on safari. And we're really excited for American Dubai Middle School to join us.
And a little promo video from Rustic Pathways.
Travel really helps people find their purpose and their passion in life. We all realize that it's more and more important to get students out of their classroom and into the world. There's a natural process of reflection when anyone is traveling and they start looking at the world in different ways and thinking about how they plug into that bigger picture. and to create a world where all people are connected through a shared humanity and all decisions are made with a global perspective.
It's so funny, the kids always clap after a video. I put that together this morning. You might be. The students who travel to Tanzania will be working with the Jane Goodall Institute, working on sustainability in Tanzania and safeguarding some of the endangered species. Also warding against deforestation, which is becoming a problem now. I'm not going to go through some of the details. You'll have an opportunity after this session in the library. The students have actually they're presently going through some rotations where they're learning about embracing diversity and cultural differences. They have one session where they're doing kind of a gallery walk in the library where our tour providers have set up some tables. That will still be there. So if you were here last year, we did that in the foyer, but we didn't want to have to break it down. So it's in the top floor of the library after this, and you'll get to learn a little bit more. But just a bit of an overview of what students would be doing in Tanzania. I don't think we have to play the videos. I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. These are the kind of the flight details. And we'll get more, if your child is placed on this trip, we'll get more of those details to you a little bit closer to the date. They're working with an organization called Roots and Shoots, and we actually have a chapter of that in our elementary schools, so some of your children, either here or in other schools, might have been involved in that. And they're working on an organic coffee farm. They're working with local professors and students, and working on conservation projects. They're not climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. They will have the chance to do that in high school through Inspire. But they are going to do some tree planting, and I think probably the most powerful part of this trip is working with the local mamas of the village and learning the local culture and interacting with people with a very different cultural background, which is so important, as you know, living in a place like Dubai. It's just eye-opening for our kids. These are the global goals that are connected, so if your child is passionate about climate change or preserving endangered species or responsible consumption and production, plastic waste, that kind of thing, that's going to be a really big component of the program. They also will spend some time in, I haven't learned to pronounce the name yet, but Big Crater, and they go on a safari. They see African animals like zebra, lions, and wildebeest, and again, it's that kind of cultural exposure, natural exposure. And also working with an organization that makes crafts with people, Tanzanians that have disabilities. As with all of our trips, we've taken extra care to safeguard children's safety on these trips. We have some built-in redundancy where we know about if the child has allergies, for example, we'll know about that through the health office. They'll report it on their forms. We'll make sure that everybody, including every cook in the places where we're eating, knows about that child's allergies and what we need to do to make sure that they don't have a reaction. All of the accommodation and transportation, we work with organizations that prioritize safety in those areas. So you should know that that's one of our biggest criteria, probably our biggest criteria for choosing vendors when we work with a third party on these trips. And they're staying, so it's kind of mixed. A lot of our trips are camping. None of them anymore are in 4-star hotels. But we, in this case, are staying in a guest house. It's made for large groups like this. And then there will be one day of camping too, but they will get that exposure. So if your child's not quite ready for a trek, this could be so we'll share this. This is also, the slideshow will be there in the library with all the contact info if you want to learn more. Again, you have until the 29th for students to make their choices. So lots of time to talk to kids, and there will be information on our website as well. So that was my best pitch for Tanzania. Our presenters today are a little more skilled in this department, so I'm going to invite them to advocate for their own trips. First off, one trip we added, as I mentioned, in recent years was an eco-venture trip in Ras Al Khaimah. And that's kind of a trip that takes everything we do abroad but moves it to somewhere a little more local. So it's kind of a mid-range price, and it gives you an opportunity for your children to experience the same thing they would experience abroad. So please welcome Minnow up, and she's here to present about Ras Al Khaimah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just climb up onto the stage so I can see everyone's faces. It's much more clearer. Okay, so most of you have heard about EcoVenture. We've been here in the UAE for almost 10 years now, and we've got several camp locations within the UAE as well as international. Alright, the clicker, oh, there. Okay, so the campsite that your children will be going to is the one in Ras Al Khaimah. It's the northernmost tip in the UAE. But in the first 2 days, we'll be taking them to Hatta. That's where they'll be learning how to pitch tents, cook their own food, meet the local community. It's more in terms of our global goals as well, and that's where they'll be having a well-being program within that community. So one thing with all our activities we do, and even our staff, all of them are trained as per British standards. All our instructors have first aid certificates as well. Without that, we do not hire anyone in EcoVenture. We don't have any freelancers, they are all our staff. Again, our ratios, we are very strict with our ratios for each activity. So on land, it's one instructor with 16 students, and in water, it's 1:8. So that's the ratio we work with. Each group will have not more than, given an average, maybe 10 to 16 students. So if it's a water-based, you would have 2 instructors plus the teacher as well during that particular activity. Every child is covered under EcoVenture insurance as well. Now, with transport, unfortunately, EcoVenture doesn't have their own bus company, so we have a third-party supplier. There are 2 bus companies that we work with. One you might have heard of, it's STS, and the other one is called as Swift. All these buses are risk assessed by us. They also have the 3-point seat belt, so it's not just the belt that goes across the waist, it's the one that goes across the chest. With the buses as well, the EcoVenture representative will be here first thing in the morning. We'll do a safety check and see that the bus is good to go. So we do all these checks prior to the trip. So this is an image in Hatta. This is where there are 2 global goals that we cover in this trip. One is where the well-being program comes into the picture, and the other one is the life around you. So here is where they immerse themselves in the environment, learn about the flora and fauna. There are certain challenges that they learn as well in this area. So we've got an orientation or even a scavenger hunt that we have for them here. Another thing that they do is they meet the local community, and there are farms that are present in this area. So on the night of this trip, they'll be getting vegetables from there, and they'll be learning how to cook their own meals too. So there's a certain amount that we provide, and then there's some that they'll have to get from home. Don't worry about what they need to get and what not. There will be a checklist that will be on the back of the itinerary, so you know what they need to pack. Now, these are the global goals that we cover on all our activities. I'll just go to my next slide and I'll tell you which one covers what. So this is a kayaking-based activity, and over here, they learn about the life in water and also life on land. So over here, there are a lot of marine creatures that are on the pontoons. So we talk about their importance to our environment and how they contribute to the ecosystem. Canoeing is a similar activity. Along with this, they will be doing a cleanup, a beach cleanup. So along the marina, sometimes you do find plastic that's around, or maybe even fishing nets that are around. So when we see things like this, we tell them about what happens when these are in the water, how animals suffocate, or some of the animals even choke on the plastic that they consume. So these are the things that we highlight when they are with us on a trip. So this is an example of the amount of garbage the children have actually collected while they were doing a canoeing expedition in and around the marina. Now, when they collected this, the next step on the itinerary is they go to a recycling plant that is in Rasilkhema. I think that's a picture ahead, but I'll come to that later. This one is called Leap of Faith. This is where they face their fears and they take this activity up as a challenge. Again, it's challenge by choice. So if a child is afraid of heights, we will not push them to do this particular challenge. We might just encourage them to go to a certain height and then maybe just jump off that pole. Again, bear in mind, we are really strict with safety. So every child will wear a helmet and a safety harness on a dry activity. Now, if it's wet, they will be wearing a buoyancy aid. So even if a child doesn't know to swim, you do not have to worry. The buoyancy aid will keep them buoyant in the water. Again, helmets is a must as well for water-based activity. All activities need to have closed-toe shoes. So basically, no Crocs, no flip-flops. We do not want exposed toes walking around on a campsite. Snorkeling is another one that we do with them. This is where we talk about marine life. The most common animals that we find in the marina is a sea urchin, as you can see on the board, and the other one is a sea cucumber. We talk about the significance and also how they play as a really important role as bioindicators in our environment. So it's a bit science, it's around science as well as conservation. Jacob's ladder is a high ropes activity. This is more into team building and seeing how they communicate with each other to reach the very top of this high ropes course. Animal encounters. So this here is Lady. She is a bearded dragon. We also talk about the significance of animals to the environment, and this is what I said about the recycling plant. So from the previous clip where the children had the waste in their canoes, we took that to the recycling plant and then we showed them how that's segregated. Now there are various types of plastic as well. So depending on that, they segregate that and that is recycled. So this is something they actually get to see and learn more about it because EcoVenture is all about experiential learning. And so why you need to send your children? First thing is, it builds confidence in them. They learn to own up to things. They learn to stand up for themselves. This does make them independent. They learn to do things by themselves as well. So, for the first thing to make them more independent is by you supervising them when they pack their bags. As long as you have the checklist, let them pack their own bags so that they know what they packed, where it is actually kept. So, some facts that you need to know. We provide meals for them, so there will be a sign-up link. You need to sign up your children on that. If there are any dietary requirements that we should know of or any allergies, please make sure you mention it on that link. There's an example of how that the sign-up link looks like in the slides moving forward. We have a first aid room at camp, but in case of an emergency, the hospital is around 10 minutes away from our campsite. So it's pretty close by. And like I previously mentioned, all our staff are first aid trained. We have a no phone policy on our camp because in the past we've had kids who got their phones and they go into the marina and the phone's gone forever. So if you need to contact, the school is definitely there and EcoVenture's numbers on our website, so you can definitely call us up there and ask your query. Now what your children need to bring. Whatever's on the checklist, please ensure you get all of that. In their day bag, they'll need to carry a water bottle, their hat and their sunscreen. These are really essential things and they will need them the whole time. Apart from that, we will need a photocopy of their Emirates ID card. Just a photocopy will do. It's in case of any emergencies because most of the hospitals in RAG will ask for some identification if we do have to go there. So this is how the checklist actually looks like. This will be also on the itinerary, so you can take a picture if you want to, but you will receive a copy of this as well. Like I previously mentioned, a photocopy of the child's Emirates ID will be essential. And you'll also receive a parent's handbook. Now the parent's handbook is also available on our website, but you will receive a copy once you enroll your child for this trip. Now this is how the Google sign-up link looks like. Whatever it may be, whatever needs your child has, please make sure you put it on here so that we know, and then this is something that the teachers have a copy of as well. So ensure that everything is covered in here. Also, forgot to mention one thing, the insurance of a child, actually, like once you sign up your child on the sign up link, the insurance covers that as well. So it's super important for you to sign up your child. So that's the end of my slide. Thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, I'm up in the library and I'm here to answer them all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for giving up your time. I know we've all got very busy schedules. I will be very quick with this one. But my name is Sophie Gogarusa. If you've not seen me around school before, I've been working with ASD now for the past 3 to 4 school academic years, working with high school students as well as middle school students to provide these amazing life-enhancing experiences. So today I'm going to be standing up to talk about Cambodia. Not to be biased on any of our itineraries, but Cambodia for me is a very special place, and the expedition offers so much for the 6 days that we are there. Picture of me, that's me and actually our school that we'll be visiting in the village that we live in during our time over there. Before I do continue, I'd like to show a very quick video to give you more of an outline of who Campus International are and what we stand for. So I'd really like to emphasise, in terms of Campus International, who we are. We are known as a social enterprise. So a social enterprise can be defined as a business that directs profits back into a strong social or environmental mission, i.e. trading to create benefits for people on the planet. So every single student that we have from Dubai, from the UK, from Australia, that travel on one of our experiences, the main goal and the main model is that we listen to the locals, we build locally, we employ locally, and we are 100% giving back. So whether that's ASD that builds the bricks for a toilet, and the DAA is follow on to actually put those bricks together, and then another school actually hands that over, it will be a cycle so that we do hand it back to the families and the people in the community at the end of it. So it's very, very powerful. Accreditations, I won't bore you with all of the badges that we do have, or many over the 17 years we've been operating with school students, but important for you to know, we run by the British standards, and a badge that I'm really proud of is the third one, LOTC. So we're one of 12 providers in the UK who hold this, and it's all about learning outside of the classroom. We understand that this is an additional cost to the fees you already pay for great education students get here. But for me, every penny that's spent is worthwhile. I went on a school expedition when I was younger to Kenya for a whole month. I I didn't want to go, my parents forced me, but at the end of it I reflect on it still to this day, and it opened my eyes to what the opportunities were out there. And that's why now I'm an expat and my parents are still back in England. Because I love to travel, it really, really opened my eyes to what the world needs. So I hope it'll be the same experience for your child too. So this expedition, it is 6 days. However, we are travelling all the way to Cambodia, so we've tried to use those 6 days of actual activities. So I think it's 5.5 days in total of full-on itinerary work, and then we'll travel in the evenings on either side as well. All the way to Cambodia, so it's around a 10-hour journey. We'll be stopping off in Singapore to do a short changeover all the way to Siem Reap. We will be flying with Singapore Airlines, and that has been agreed with the school, so it's a good airline and they work very closely with our students. We have 2 camps in Cambodia. One is called Beng Pei, one is called Beng Melia. Depending on the size of the group, nearer to the time of arrangement, we will let you know more of that detail. During the expedition, we have to tick off components. It's not just service work. If we did 6 days of service work, our kids will be pretty tired. So we mix it up. It's community service, it's wildlife, it's history. We learn about the Khmer Rouge that happened 50 odd years ago. Really powerful, and it really sets students up for later years as well when they begin to study it. Environment conservation, like most of our expeditions, and adventure. From the moment we wave goodbye to our parents at ASD, the adventure begins until we come back. Talking of global goals, there are many global goals this trip covers. However, I would really like to emphasise on clean water and sanitation, and you'll understand why, because of the projects we do. So I was speaking to students earlier and kind of setting the tone to why we're going back to Cambodia each year. And unfortunately, the statistics are the reason for it. So below 90% of the children within our community do not have access to a decent education. An education like students do here, full-time, from I think it's like 7:30 all the way until 3:30. It's not the case for most of the students we'll be living with. Below 50% live on just $1 a day. So if we convert that, that's around 3.5 dirhams for one family living in these communities. And water is extremely scarce, and students know that from the second we land in Cambodia. We have a time limit on showers, we have a rule of no throwing water on each other, we need to respect that water is scarce in these communities. So what can we do to give back to the situation and make an impact? Rural communities, when I talk about villages, it is in the middle of nowhere. We've been embedded in these communities now for many years. So once we arrive, we'll be welcomed by the Camps International family, and we'll be hanging out with these guys for around 4 days of the expedition in the rural communities. We'll be based in one of our local camps, like I mentioned, Beng Melia or Beng Pei, and for 2 of the days, it will be hands-on project work. Anything from cement making, bricklayer, making bricks. I always say to students they become little Bob the Builders by the time they come back. Maybe they can build their parents' home one day. This is a picture of us building wells in the community. So back from the video you may have seen earlier, it's one of our big projects that we like to achieve. And this is one of our American schools here in Dubai. With these projects, hopefully we'll be able to see the end of the process. So they aren't too hard to do. The well is slightly more complicated, but one of them could be making these big pots. They're literally massive pots, and we put them in the gardens of every single family. Because when it rains, they will collect water in this pot, and they will use the water as the year goes on to boil their rice, to boil to have warm showers, and to use for sanitation as well. So something very simple, which a student came up with here in the UAE, has been so powerful within our communities. Here are just pictures of our kids being active, getting involved. It won't be hard work, but we do manage it for the students and the ages that will be travelling. One of us putting the basins into wells. We aim to put a well down each street of our community so they don't have to walk miles and miles for access to clean drinking water. And one of our teams handing over toilets within a local community, which is great. They don't have to use bushes and elsewhere. They have communities that are structured and clean. But like I said, it's not just going to be hard work. There'll be a lot of time to kick back, relax, hang out with the locals. Probably one of the biggest highlights we get from students when they return back from expedition, especially last year, is when students come into our camp, we play volleyball, we play soccer, we teach English, we teach math, anything we can do in our downtime. Sometimes we have to say to the local kids, right, our team need a rest now, let's leave it until the next day, but it's very inseparable relationships that they build, which is great. Friends for life. We'll have a chance to go to the local schools as well. Quite a lot of the time teachers do not show up to teach lessons because they have to come from miles away and they're unable to attend the classes. So sometimes our students get a chance to go in and teach something that they are passionate about. Once we're done in the community, like I said, we're full of so many more things, language lessons, dances, etc. We'll be heading over to Siem Reap. I said to the students, this is one of my favourite cities in the whole entire world. It's got such a charm to it. It's home of the Angkor Wat. It's a huge national park, which is humongous. It can take up to 4 days to walk around the whole of it, but we only pick the best temples because students get pretty bored quickly. So we pick all of the ones that are mind-blowing for around half the day or 3/4 of the day. Great opportunity to take pictures. If we've got an energetic group, we might try and get there for sunrise. Sometimes they prefer the lion, but regardless, it's a great opportunity to learn the history and the culture of Cambodia. Again, Buddhism for me was a huge highlight of my trip to Cambodia. If you wish to, you get to see a monk for a water blessing. Parents, beware to pack some extra wet clothes because they don't just sprinkle water, they literally throw buckets over you during the blessing. So if your child wishes to, they can be a part of this as well. And to finish off the expedition on a huge high, Camps International will be taking out the team for an Italian pizza, burgers, chips, cans of soda, just to say a big thank you. They'll be eating rice and noodles for most of the trip, local traditional food. So this is a huge thanks. We'll explore the night markets as well in the evening. Hopefully you get some souvenirs for actually letting them go on to the expedition. What does accommodation look like in camp? We will be staying in traditional longhouses. So boys and girls are completely separate. It's high bamboo floor and mattresses on the floor with pillows, linens, everything they need to be comfortable and safe. Within the camp, it's circulated with a huge fence. We have a security guard that does shifts, day guard and evening guard, and there is only one entrance and exit into camp, okay? This becomes a home away from home for the kids. Day one, it's like, ooh, sleeping on the floor in the middle of nowhere in Cambodia. Day 3, no, we don't want to go to a hotel, but unfortunately, day 4 and 5, we will be heading to a hotel to finish off the expedition in the town. There's no camps in the town. What food will they be eating? A big question I'd always ask. It will be local cuisine during the expedition in camp, so maybe noodles for breakfast as well as toast, etc. Those who do not like the local food. Meat dishes, locally grown, very tasty. The fruit in Cambodia is way better than what you get in Skinny's supermarket. I am a witness of that, so it will be whatever is the local cuisine at the time. Dietary requirements, like any of the providers here, please let us know in advance so we can prepare our chefs to cook the best food for your child. In the evenings, volleyball, soccer, etc. We do team building, we do reflection, we write down in our notebooks as well, in our journals, so we can look back in years to come when we apply for university or college and reflect back about our experience doing community service in Cambodia. And most of all, hopefully a lot of fun for your child. Benefits, confidence building, teamwork. It's just the ethos of why this school is doing this type of thing in February, in everything we do during this expedition. Fitness, you need to be strong, you need to be willing to put the work in, but again, we do tailor this itinerary for the age group. A few more slides about safety and logistics and then I'll be finished. In terms of our vehicles, you will be working with Camps International all the way throughout. We have a director and a team of 20 plus people based looking after your children. All of our drivers are fully licensed and have been working with us for years. Seatbelts are a big must. We do not leave a transfer without our seatbelts on. And of course, our vehicles are all very well maintained. This is our traffic light system if anything was to happen in country, to know your child is in safe hands. The green light, if a child pulls over during project work and has a bleeding knee, we have an expedition leader who travels with the school chaperones from the school on expedition and returns everyone back in one piece. They are fully first aid trained at the minimum. So They will deal with any minor incidents. Amber, it's something a bit more serious where a student's not been very well for over 24 hours. We will head over to a medical clinic to get the extra medical help where needed. And of course, at that point, parents, you will be notified straight away by our team here in the UAE, and we will keep you up to date until everything's resolved. And the third case is worst case, but repatriation. If a student really isn't feeling well on expedition, we will fly a parent over to Cambodia to pick them up and travel back to Dubai with them, all on our insurance. So you don't have to worry about paperwork. We will tell you exactly what needs to be done to follow the procedure. Yeah, everything on the left-hand side is included on this expedition. Please ignore UK Airport, that was my typo, I meant UAE. But for you to know as well, we have a reserve location. We follow the US Embassy and the XCO advisory. If anything was to happen and Cambodia was an unsafe place to travel to, we will be looking at our backup option, which will most likely be Borneo, which is not too far away, around an hour and a half. So we will arrange all of that and it will be in place. Really quickly, please parents, there must be 6 months validity on your passports from the day we arrive back into Dubai. We've had so many parents have to pull their child out of trips because they've not checked this detail. It should be the same for all of the international trips. Visas, again, before deciding on Cambodia and Thailand, Nepal, please check your nationality is able to get a visa within the 3 months or 4 months leave that we have. There's nothing worse than having to change destinations for a child. Vaccinations in Cambodia. It's all about the boosters, so hepatitis, meningitis, all of the standard travel vaccinations. Malaria tablets is optional. Please seek advice from your medical facilities around here. Our Barsha clinic is very good for advice. They have a travel section. Spending money, no more than between $50 to $100 US. Cambodia is extremely cheap. All they'll spend their money on is cans of Coke and hopefully some souvenirs as well. And just going on with Kit, we will release all of this information for you, and we'll do a parent presentation again once you've selected your options, so you can go through it all in detail. Perfect. That is Cambodia, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt and I'm talking to you from a company called Mountain Quest. Just while we wait for the presentation to come up on the board, just give you a bit of a background of who I am, who the company is. I think some of you may have met me before, some of you not. Oh, there we go, so we're up and running. We've been working with ASD now for 8 or 9 years. I was just trying to work it out while I was sitting down. We've been working in the middle school for 8 years, and we've been working with the high school for the Inspired trips since they started. So we like to think we've got a good relationship with the school, and we understand the needs, not only of the school for curriculum, but also from you guys, from the parents, in terms of the safety perspective and what you actually get for your money. So I think we're just going to get straight in. My presentation that I'm doing today is largely the same as what I gave to your kids earlier. And I've done it on purpose because I want you to see the message that we've been giving the kids earlier on the day. Some of you might recognize what this is. This is coral bleaching in the Great Barrier Reef. But this is happening all over temperate oceans now around the world, including in Thailand, in Koh Tao, which I'll talk about later. It's a big problem. More than 50% of the world's reefs have bleached at some point, and it's becoming more of an issue. We'll talk about that in a minute. This here is rubbish in the Himalayas. So the Himalayas are the largest and one of the most important mountain ranges on Earth. They're responsible for the monsoon, and this is what we are doing to those mountain ranges. And then to change tact a little bit, this is a lady who I've met in Nepal, in southern Nepal. She's sitting in her kitchen, and you'll notice all the smoke. She's actually got cataract. She can't see very well anymore because in her home there is no chimney. And she cooks with wood because she has no other option. And for the whole of her life, she's been having to sit in there, and it's given her cataracts. Luckily, she hasn't had any lung issues, but that is also another key problem that people face when they burn wood in a closed environment. Pretty depressing reading, but there are people out there, a lot of people, doing incredible work. It's not all bad news. This is Simon. I was with Simon 3 weeks ago in Thailand, and he is right here laying an artificial reef just off Koh Samui. to try and regrow reefs that have been damaged either from bleaching or from anchors from boats being dragged through those reefs. This is actually an ASD student from, I think, last year or the year before, in Nepal, helping to pour the first water from a brand new water filter that was installed there by the ASD students. What's happening here is when people go trekking in the Himalayas, in general, normally what they do is they need 3 liters of water a day, 4 liters of water a day, and that water is coming from a single-use plastic bottle for many reasons. One being there's no other choice, that's all they have that they can buy. The second being that people are scared of getting sick from dirty water because they don't trust things like water filters. And there are many other reasons based around that as well. But this is a project which is saving, just this one tea house, over 100 plastic water bottles a day in this one tea house, and there are thousands of tea houses around the world. Of course, not all tea houses have water filters, but we are trying to redress that slowly as we go on. And then finally, this lady is called Fulmaya. She's in the south of Nepal, in a place called Chitwan. She is leading a biogas dome project, whereby biogas is installed into people's gardens for a family roughly of 6 or 7, maybe up to 10. This biogas will provide methane from animal and plant waste, and just to spell it out, the animal waste is from poop, just in case you were under any other impressions. And that is creating clean energy so that the lady that you saw earlier, unfortunately too late for her, but maybe for her kids, they will be able to cook with a gas that burns with no smoke to help them with these issues such as their eye cataracts and sadly lung issues. Okay? So there are people out there doing incredible things. And what I said to your kids earlier was this is now their opportunity to start not only learning about what other people are doing around the world to try to address some of the issues, but actually get involved themselves. I also said to them, and we'll touch upon this at the end, this is a week away when it comes to the trip provider. But it's not a week away only for your kids. This is the start of a journey whereby they learn things in the classroom. They go away, they see things in action, learn a few more things to get more of a balanced view of the world. But then they hopefully bring that knowledge back. And I talked directly to the kids about this earlier. They bring that knowledge back and they use that knowledge to enhance their own communities. There are problems all over the world with water, with sanitation, with energy. I think we're probably pretty guilty on energy. And the kids can come back and they are very resourceful people. They will have ideas for their own communities here, back in home countries, wherever you may come from, and they might be able to influence projects in those areas too. And that's what we really hope for. And we're really happy the school is fully bought in on that process as well. And so I want to talk a little bit about why you're really here, sort of listening to me specifically, which is the trips themselves. Overview slide, I won't dwell on it. I'm going to go straight in because there are 5 trips and I don't want to keep you for the rest of the evening. Okay, so I'll try and be as quickly as possible. I'm going to focus on the project. There's a little bit of information about what the fun is. The kids always want to know that, but I want to focus on the project for you because this is the key to each of the trips. You'll also notice that on the slide, we have put some of the global goals that are covered, excuse me, to one way or another on these trips, okay? So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes. We're going to be behind here in the library to talk to you in more depth. The biogas project I've touched upon. It's where they build a biogas dome so that the people of the village have a clean energy source. It's not just so that they can reduce their own health problems, but it's also to stop the cutting down of wood, because in Chitwan is home to tigers, rhinos, elephants, sloth bears, all of which are endangered and all of which need somewhere to live. And by chopping down all those trees for firewood, that habitat will get less and less. Nepal is actually the first country in the world to meet its tiger conservation targets for 2020. It actually met their targets last year for the number of tigers in Nepal, and it's partly down to the biogas project. This isn't just something that Mountain Quest does. We actually work in conjunction with the Nepal government and the World Wildlife Fund on this project. So it is there, with or without us, which we really like, but we are part of it. Okay, the biogas project is a project that lasts for a long time, up to 40 years, for a biogas dome that's created. So the kids really leave a long legacy when they go on this trip. Okay, and it provides a reliable and sustainable energy for the entire period. I'm going to give you one stat. A biogas offsets enough carbon for the equivalent of 190 return flights between Dubai and Kathmandu. So the kids, when they go on this trip, they actually take care of their carbon footprint when it comes to traveling as well. So that's obviously a massive part of traveling abroad. There's a negative impact. Okay, the biogas project. There are other parts to it. So one thing I didn't mention earlier is important is the kids will be camping on this trip. It is in the full itinerary online, but just so that you know, some kids are not happy about that. So there is mostly a camping element to this trip. Some of the fun things they'll be doing is whitewater rafting. There'll also be camping, like I said, they'll be having s'mores. They'll be going on a jeep safari to hopefully see rhinos and tigers, and they will be visiting World Heritage Sites in Kathmandu. Okay, so that's the biogas trip in a nutshell. The second trip is to Thailand, to Chiang Mai, where students will be creating or helping to build a community centre. Just like Sophia said earlier, they don't build the whole centre in the 5 days that they're there. They help with an ongoing project, and that project is built to completion. It's actually quite close to being completed now. So the students on this trip, they'll actually be getting involved in plastering walls, getting the windows in. So we're really at that stage now in the community centre. The community centre is there so that local Thai kids and also Myanmar kids who have come from over the border are able to study. Kids from Myanmar are not able to actually study in Thai schools because they can't speak Thai, so they can't get access to that. This community centre will start to address that so they can catch up and then get into the local Thai schools and have a proper education. The students on this trip will also be learning about permaculture and other sustainable living situations. So permaculture being farming that actually doesn't take the nutrients out of the ground. Also, in terms of other sustainability projects, they'll be learning a lot of things about how to not use single-use plastic, and then something that's quite interesting, we'll go down to the level whereby the students will actually learn how to clean their own pots and pans using detergents that will not destroy the environment. So they learn a lot about sustainability on this trip. Okay? We put this into the fun section that is actually part of that project. The students spend a full day at an elephant sanctuary just outside of Chiang Mai. You may or may not be aware that there are many, many captive elephants around the world. Thailand's a major place, and so is Nepal actually, where tigers are mistreated for the tourists and also for the logging industries. They go through a really horrendous time. I won't go into the details, but you can research that yourselves if you'd like to. We go to a place called Lanna Kingdom, which actually buys elephants from the logging industries or from the tourist industry so that they can rehabilitate them and just let them live as normal a life as possible. They can't be wild anymore because they have been habituated, but they let them live as normal a life as possible and then as a happy life as possible until for the rest of their day. And the kids go to learn about that process and why it's so important, and also get to interact with the elephants in an ethical way as well. And so that's one of the fun, but also serves parts of the trip. And then there'll be a lot of Thai food. There'll be varying degrees of spice depending upon how your kids can take that. They actually, on every single one of our trips, the kids do learn cooking. There's two reasons why we do this. One is because it's fun, and secondly, we would like the kids to see where their food's coming from. It's so easy nowadays for kids just to eat, say, McDonald's, Burger King, all those bad places, and not really connect with their food. So what we hope is that they will have more of a connection with what they're eating, and you never know, there may, a full-on hope, be a knock-on effect that they might even cook for you one day. But that is definitely something that is a hope for us more than an expectation from one of these trips. And so that is the Thailand Chiang Mai trip. Okay, we're also going to Malaysia. Okay, in Malaysia, we're going to be meeting the Batak people. They are an indigenous tribe of less than 1,600 people now. They are the original inhabitants of the Peninsula of Malaysia, and their numbers are dwindling, and also their way of life is being taken away. In many ways, similar to other parts of the world, where just the indigenous communities really struggle when other people come and live in those areas as well. And so we'll be staying in an area where the Batak live for 4 days. And we'll be learning not only all about their way of life, I'll come back to that in a minute, but also be helping to install a precious plastic recycling centre, which I think is either already at the school or about to be at the school, which is great, so there's continuity there, whereby waste plastic from the floor can actually be repurposed into things that can be sold. So what's really important for the Batak is they struggle to make a living because they get locked out of lots of different industries. So what they do is they have a precious plastic recycling centre, they collect the plastic, they repurpose it and they can sell it, and it provides a sustainable economy for those people. Okay, it also helps clear up the natural area around them. On top of that, we go animal tracking with the Batak. These are the best people to find animals such as Malayan tigers, which we won't find, but we might find some of their presence there in terms of scratchings, pygmy elephants, gibbons, which the students will absolutely hear. And we take that information, we document it using GPS, and then we hand that over to the Malaysian government, to the University of Nottingham Malaysia campus, and to a NGO called MyCat, so that they can use that data to better protect the animals and understand how many numbers are still in the wild. So this is real projects with real results. And then finally, we spend a day with the BATEC where they teach the students all their skills, like fire making, in a controlled way, of course, not slash and burn. They learn how to use a blowpipe without killing animals. They also learn how to cook using bamboo as a medium. And this is fun for two reasons. One, it's just a lot of fun for the kids at the end of the trip, but also it helps the BATEC to remember their skills and to pass them down to their own children at the same time. Because these skills are being lost. So when they're showing the students at ASD, they're also showing their own kids, and it helps pass down those skills. Okay, a little bit on the fun. The kids will be doing some river tubing at the end of the trip. If you don't know what it is, have a look above. And I put the fun of the BATEC here just because it is a lot of fun. But like I said, it does help with a lot of their passing down the skills. And then finally, they'll be spending time in Kuala Lumpur at the end of the trip. At the beginning of the trip, where they'll go to a place called Little India. So any of you who have visited or know Kuala Lumpur will know what Little India is. It's a place where you can get great food and it has a really strong Indian community. And we'll be spending an evening there, eating there as well. And that's Malaysia. I'm sorry to go through so fast, but I am aware of it at the time. So now we're going to go on to a new trip. This is new this year at school. This is back in Thailand, and this is a trip in Koh Samui and Koh Tao where the students will actually be helping to build an artificial reef to replace some of the reefs that have been damaged from anchors or from coral bleaching, etc. The kids will spend 3 days building the reef, building a nursery to grow coral that will eventually go onto the reef, and also other projects such as something called Coral Watch. Coral Watch is a global initiative from scientists who was originally based in Australia to monitor global bleaching events. So students will snorkel over the reefs, they will collect data on the colour of the coral, and the great thing about this is they don't need any prior skills, so they can actually get involved on a meaningful level without needing special skills. They will then take the data they've learned, and they will take it back into the research centre on Koh Tao Island, input that data into the computer, and then it will be up on the internet for scientists all over the world to monitor coral health globally. This will be a real-time project which the students will be involved in. This really helps to understand bleaching events, where they're happening, why, and to try to prevent those happening in the future. Okay? We'll also be involved in quite a few zero plastic projects because I'm sure you know that a lot of problems are occurring in the oceans due to single-use plastics being slopped in when it rains or being sadly thrown directly into the ocean in some occasions. And so students will be involved in making bags made that can be used over and over instead of plastic. They'll be doing beach cleanups, and they'll be doing things like that to help the local community as well. Again, for more of the fun, because I know that students are interested in this stuff, we will be doing a half-day snorkeling at the end, so the students can see a pristine reef, and hopefully what their reef will become in 10 or 15 years, because it does take time. Once we build it, they won't see the results of it until about then. But they'll also be spending a day in Ang Thong National Park, which is what you see behind me. That is a national marine park, where it's a celebration day where students, after they've done all that hard work, they can go and relax. But it also gives them an opportunity to see a place that is being really well looked after by the Thai government, and what could be the case if more and more places were looked after the way it is. And the obligatory Thai cooking lesson for the reasons I gave earlier. Okay? I think we're on to our last trip. I'm sure you'll be happy to know. This is the mountain trekking and water project. It's probably the trip that we've done the longest in the school, so some of you might be aware of this. These are students from ASD 2 years ago, I think. A year and a half ago. And this trip is a little bit different. So I've started with what you might think is the fun. Okay? But the reason I've done this is because I think this is where the real learning outcome comes. I actually set up Mountain Quest after working in banking for about 6 years. And the reason I did that is because I went to Nepal myself and I went trekking in the mountains. And just doing that physical hardship that is something you're not used to is almost for me like a form of physical meditation. It allowed me to clear my mind and to see what might be important for me. And what it led to was setting up this business. And we can have a chat about that another time about why I did that. But I would love for some of the students who are more actively inclined to go on this trip to understand the link between hard physical work and results. And they can also then put that into their daily life in Dubai, knowing that if they study hard, they will get results. If they work hard, they will get results because it's tangible. Okay, and that's what this trip is all about. It's a personal challenge, but it's also all about working together as a team. They will be whitewater rafting at the beginning of the trip, and hopefully learning that they're capable of a lot more than they thought they might be originally. Okay, that's what this trip is all about. But there is a project, and the project is the water project. And this is one of my final slides. Excuse me. On the trip, like I mentioned earlier about the water problem on trekking, the kids will be helping to inaugurate a water filter when they're on the trip. the students will actually be saving about 400 water bottles by going on this trip because there is no single-use plastic water bottles on this trip that we do. But they'll also be leaving behind a water filter, as well as teaching the local tea house owners why it's so important to be pushing sustainable sources of water for their own economic interests. Because we are fully aware that although it's nice to do good things for the planet, if it doesn't work economically, there's a less higher likelihood that it will work long term. So the students will help the tea house owners learn how they can make more money by selling water from a sustainable source than from a single-use plastic bottle. So it's a really powerful project. But I just wanted to start that on the personal journey first. The final thing the students will be doing is cooking again. It's a common theme, but this time they'll be cooking for their porters, because if you're not aware, on a trek, porters carry the majority of the loads of any people that go there from places like ourselves. And so we want to say thank you for those guys who are working really, really hard on behalf of us. And so we cook for them and we serve them, we say thank you, and it's a big celebration at the end of the trip. Okay, so I need to talk about safety. I didn't touch upon it at the beginning because I wanted to get this information across. Now, first and foremost, we've been working with the school now this is now, I think, our 9th year. I think. So we are very, very well aware of the requirements needed to make sure your your kids are safe, okay? This is something that we have a lot of experience in. That could be something from the logistics of the trip, having the buses, making sure helmets are being worn when they need to, making sure that life preservers are being worn when they need to be, making sure that students are in the places they should be at all times and we know where they are, all the way through to severe allergies. We've dealt with almost every allergy I can think of on a school trip. We just need to know in advance what those allergies are. Okay? I won't go into the details about kit lists and so on. You're going to get all of that. Don't worry whatsoever. But one thing that's really important is when you do the booking with us, you give us detailed information if any of your kids have severe allergies, dietary requirements, or anything else you think we should be aware of. Okay, that is all going to be dealt with, but please do let us know early on because we can then deal with it really well for students in a way that doesn't embarrass them or in a way that they just feel really comfortable. Okay? And we can have one-on-one talks about that as well. We're based in Dubai, so absolutely we can make sure that all of that is taken care of for your kids. Okay? We've done lots, probably hundreds of trips now over the years. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. And we take every single one of them very, very seriously. All of our destinations have local good health clinics nearby. They have very good hospitals in the vicinity, and we have procedures on how to medically evacuate students from that area if sadly that ever had to be required, and we have all of that in place already. We can share that information with you should that be something you'd like to know. Again, I'm not going to dwell on that today, but please do come and talk to us if you do have any concerns about health and safety. And then finally, what now? Well, we hope that the students have spent time to focus on the service projects of the trip. But if you have questions about those projects, come and talk to us, because I'm sure your kids have their ideas of where they want to go, and I would like to furnish you with information should you be concerned about anything. The final thing I will say, our trips have varying price points. I think that information will be shared later, but there are price points. We've made a real effort to make price points available as much as possible on the varying destinations. So we don't just have a flat fee of one price on every trip. Each trip is priced differently based on the cost of the trip, and we're hoping that will help. We do understand there are financial pressures these days, and we hope that helps you out a little bit as well. So that's me. Come and talk to me if you have any questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks to Matt for speed talking through that. And thanks to you for being such a good audience. And you guys are the diehards that are still here, so I appreciate that. Do want to just invite you, if you would like, to go to the library. We do have some literature there that you can take with you. The website will be up this evening, so feel free to look through that with your child. The forms will go out tomorrow after school, and as will their lottery number, which you can view on the same Power School view as their bell schedule. So it'll say right at the top, there'll be a number there, and that's their lottery number. Another thing you can see there is their house. So if you're not sure what their house is and you'd like to buy a house shirt, we do have Zach here. This is one final plug to make sure that your child has a house shirt for tomorrow. It's a big day. So if you have other questions, feel free to approach. And we look forward to the adventures that await us. Have a great day.